All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. It'll probably turn 6 o'clock by the time I end up finished talking here. Welcome to City Council meeting for January 21st. Start with a roll call. Looks like we got Joel, Eric, Kathleen, we got Rick, Indra,
Yep.
Seth, and Rob. So we're just missing one person, so we have a quorum. We will proceed. Kathleen, you said you had somebody come up for the invocation? Please
Yeah,
announce
I'd like
them.
to invite Pastor Jason Smotherman to the podium for prayer.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for all of you do, seen and unseen. Our church appreciates all the sacrifices that you guys make, and we're so appreciative of all the hard work, and we believe that Grants Pass is an incredible place to live, and thankful for all you guys do. Let's bow our heads and pray. Lord, we thank you today for sunshine. Many of us haven't seen it in a long time, so Lord, we say thank you. We ask for your presence and your blessing to be in this room. Your word says, if we lack wisdom, we can ask it, and you give liberally to us. Father, we don't just ask for your heart, we ask for your mind, your strategy for what you would have your will to be done in this community. We thank you for the healing that's taking place and the tones that are being shifted. And Lord, we thank you for the unity that's been prayed about in private to come public. We pray these things in the matchless and mighty name of Jesus. And we all say, amen.
All right, please rise for the flag salute and remove your covers if you have them. Thanks. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job.
Okay, that little guy gets extra participation points. All right, so we have a little bit of a light agenda this evening. First will be a public hearing. And at this time, I'll open a public hearing to consider the application as filed for ordinance vacating a street plug adjacent to tax lot 813 of map number 36-05-06-CA. We will begin the hearing with a staff report followed by a presentation by applicant, statements by persons in favor of the application, statements by persons in opposition of the application, and an opportunity for additional comments by applicant and or staff. After that has occurred, the public comment portion will be closed and the matter will be discussed and acted upon by the council. Is there anyone present who wishes to challenge the authority of the council to hear this matter? Seeing none, is there any counselor who wishes to abstain from participating in this hearing or declare a potential conflict of interest? Seeing none, are there any counselors who wish to disclose discussions, contact, or other ex parte information they have received prior to this meeting regarding this application? Seeing none, in this hearing, the decision of the council will be based on specific criteria which are set forth in the development code. All testimony which apply in this case are noted in the staff report. If you would like a copy of said report, please write a note to the city manager and one can be provided to you. It is important to remember if you fail to raise an issue with enough detail to afford the council and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue, you will not be able to appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. The hearing will now proceed with a report from staff. Brad?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. Brad Clark with Community Development. Got a fairly short, easy presentation for you tonight. Highland Street Plug Vacation. This is related to a 30-lot subdivision that is mostly finished. I think all the paving's done, all the curb gutter sidewalk work is done off of Highland Loop on the north end of town. This has been in the works for a while, but this particular request was with condition of approval, and Mr. Woodruff, who is the developer, is just now kind of coming through with this one. You will also see fairly soon an annexation. This property is not in the city limits. It is in the urban growth boundary, but that we allow for developers to proceed with subdivision applications in the urban growth as long as they get annexed before, we proceed with any building permits. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of the timing. The plug would allow for an extension of Northwest Lassen Way through the Highland Heights subdivision, which has been there for many years. So here's where we're at. It's just off Northwest Highland, to the west of Northwest Highland. Highland Loop cuts through the project, and then Woodbrook Drive intersects with Lassen Way, and that stubs down into this vacant property. And so that's this plug was created many, many years ago to prevent the public right-of-way from being extended. So here's the subdivision that shows the 30 lots that are being built right now. And what we're talking about is on the very north end where Lassen Way stubs into this large property. That needs to be removed. So here's the plat showing the plug as it was created over 20 years ago. And then you can see where some of the work has recently been done, where the plat needs to be changed. So there's two criteria for these applications. Those are on the screen behind me. Staff reviewed those and found that they have been met by the applicant, which is Peter Allen Surveying. We did not receive any comments related to the notice for this application. And then here's the call to action with a motion at the bottom.
Perfect, thank you, Brad. Bring it back to council for any questions in regards to the presentation you just saw.
I will say, Mayor, we did contact the applicant. They were aware that we are meeting tonight, but they didn't see any reason to come. So I can answer any questions that you might have for them as well.
Okay, good. So the broad of questions can go to the applicant as well. Any last call for any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Brad. At this time, we'll open it up to public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak in opposition of this application? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for further discussion and or action. Seth?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance vacating the Highland Street plug located at the southern terminus of Northwest Lassen Way.
Excellent. We have a motion to approve the application as stated. Is there a second? Second from Rick? And this will be for first reading, title only.
First reading?
Correct. Just to clarify, yes, this will be for first reading, title only. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll go with a roll call vote. Seth?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Yes.
Kathleen? Eric?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
All right, passes for first reading. Thank you.
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Grants Pass vacating a street plug adjacent to tax lot 813 of map number 36-05-06CA.
Thank you. All right, so bring it back to council for further discussion and or action for a second reading. Joel?
For a second reading, I move to approve the ordinance vacating the Highland Street plug located at the southern terminus of Northwest Lawson Way.
All right, we have a motion on the table for second reading and a second from Rob. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none. Joel?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Seth?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Eric? All right, passes
Yes.
for second reading.
An ordinance of the Council of the City of Grants Pass vacating a street plug adjacent to tax lot 813 of map number 36-05-06CA.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. Next council action is a resolution creating a small business task force. And we have a presentation from staff, which would be led by Brad.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So this is a resolution, as you stated, Mayor. This would create a new task force for the city to establish a group of local business owners and advocates to explore local business conditions, consider strategies for stabilization, and identify key topics for a long-term business support plan. Relates to your council goal of economic growth. So this links back to your December 1st workshop, where Councilor Nicholas proposed for the council to create a small business task force. There was broad support on the council to do that. Some of the discussion that took place around that proposal was some of the recent economic challenges for small business in Grants Pass. Discussing having representation from the community to explore ways that the city could help retain businesses. So here is the purpose statement as it's currently drafted, and as you well know, these task forces are completely under the council's purview. This is the purpose statement as drafted by staff, and you can discuss tonight after the presentation if you want to change or shift in any way, shape, or form. But the three kind of focus points is the local business conditions. So the first one there, assessing conditions by conducting surveys, listening sessions, and direct outreach to the business community. The second one, consider strategies for stabilization, recommending measures like temporary regulatory relief or short-term incentives. And then the third one gets more to an actual long-term document that could be generated, a business support plan related to workforce development, business retention and expansion, redevelopment, new business attraction, and policy changes that remove barriers to business growth. So those were the kind of three primary focal points for the task force. As drafted and in your packet tonight, this would be a limited term, like most of our task forces. 6 to 12 months is generally, I think, what we put in the ads when we're trying to recruit members. Proposed to have 7 members, 5 business owners, 1 Chamber of Commerce, and 1 Main Street Grants Pass representative. And then city council and city staff liaisons, which most of our task force have. These are, since they're council appointed bodies, they are subject to all the same rules that all of your other committees are in terms of public notices. Public is welcome to attend, they're recorded, there's minutes, there's agendas, all that good stuff all applies to the task force. So that's a lot of what the staff work has done for these. The membership composition, as you can see, it's fairly broad. Right now, it just says 5 business owners. This is advertised, or not advertised, but on your agenda tonight as a small business task force. That may be something that you could talk about during your discussion about what is a small business? Do you want to keep it small business, or is it just open for multiple sectors? We do have in the page 12 of your packet, you'll see under number 5, special qualifications. We did put a variety of sectors there, including, but not limited to, retail, manufacturing, healthcare, tourism, technology, agriculture, finance, food and beverage, transportation, and member at large. So as it's currently drafted, fairly broad spectrum, I think, with the goal being to try to attract folks from a diversity of sectors so you can get a diversity of opinions on the task force. Cost implication, there really is none other than just the staff time to coordinate, and then as I mentioned, these meetings get noticed and recorded. We have the call to action for you listed as tonight, council discretion, and then you have some alternatives listed there to either approve the resolution as it's drafted, make amendments to it, or not approve the resolution and don't create the task force. happy to try to answer any questions, but this is primarily up for council discussion tonight.
Thanks, Brad. All right, so I'll bring it back to council for discussion and/or action, because we're at that point, but actually, no question, I'm sorry, questions first. Indra, do you have questions? Or did you just, okay. Kathleen, go ahead.
So I was just kind of wondering what it means to consider diversification of business size. Meaning for the downtown area or for overall, or?
Yeah, during our preliminary discussions, we recognize that there can be some very different business objectives and needs. If you're, say, you have 400 employees or you have 4. So they're kind of some different perspectives that would probably come up in terms of workforce development and training and, other things related to marketing. There's certain capacities that those businesses that are quite large would have versus others that might outsource more. So I think that's, at least in my recollection, kind of where that came from.
Oh, because it seems like we have a lot of committees or areas, agencies looking at larger businesses. The small businesses, there's maybe less of that, I don't know exactly, but I was thinking small business would be a smaller size. I mean, is that what we're mainly looking at? Getting smaller companies in our storefronts?
Yeah, and I think that's 100%, up to the council to decide. If you wanted to limit it, then that would need to be clarified so that when we are recruiting and asking for membership, then that would be an important metric to have so that we can make that determination during the application process.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, thank you, Brad. So I will now open up to the public. Is there anybody in the audience that wants to come up and comment in regards to this specific council action for a resolution to create a small business task force? Step up to the mic and you got 2 minutes. Oh, Rika, you're going to do that?
Yes,
All right, go right ahead, ma'am.
Rika Brown, Grants Pass. I am curious, how big can how many employees can a business have before they are not considered small businesses? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, please step up to the mic and restate your name, and you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Patrick Rooney, Grants Pass. It'd be nice if we had 3 minutes, by the way. Probably other people have said that, but 3 minutes would be nice because we're forced to kind of rush and not necessarily get all we're trying to say. But just a thought, I think this is great. Thank you, Councilor Nicholas. I think it's an excellent idea to get some small business task force together. I just wanted to put in, would it consider, or would it be considering at all, a lot of the things that are hurting small business here have nothing to do with the city of Grants Pass. They have to do with edicts that are put on from the state down to Grants Pass that are hurting us. And I'm wondering if there could be something that could be included to legislatively or whatever to be able to put something in or to fight or get together. I've kind of asked this question before about like the district attorneys. Why can't district attorneys get together around the state? Why can't businesses get together? I know the Chamber of Commerce wants to do that. Some of them do. Why can't we get together and put something together legislatively and push for something that would push back on some of the state regulations or maybe change them as necessary? I'm thinking of HB 3115, for instance, SB 48 and things like that. There's lots that could be done. Possibly even the police chief could get involved in that. And we could do a lot for our city, but we're going to have to fight back against the outside forces. And if we don't touch the outside forces, we can get as clean as we want to be and still not really get as far as we want to go. So thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Any other public comment in regards to this specific topic? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. We'll bring it back to council for further discussion and or action. Indra.
Yes, I realize I was very vague when I first brought this up. I didn't really have a great idea of what I envisioned. But just to let everyone know, I've started 2 businesses on my own. One was an in-home care agency, so a service-type business I started from the ground up, zero, me and a half-time employee, and we grew to be a multi-million-dollar company with over 250 employees. So I have experience with that. And then also a smaller business, doesn't make near as much money, but that's with inventory, more of a retail business, food and beverage business. So I know the challenges. I built the first business I was a tenant in a building, and then the second also a tenant, but I built it out. So I have that, went through that development part too, which was quite challenging. So I have experience in that, and I just want to help our small businesses in any way we can, and I think we can do that because in Grants Pass, most of the stability of our economy comes from existing small businesses. And so we need to retain them and help them to expand when businesses are ready to expand. So that was a good question about the size of a small business. I think that's something we would want to talk about if we want to limit it or not. But I see this committee as, it's an advisory committee, it's limited in duration. I see it as being practical with, at the end, some measurable deliverables that, outcomes that can come before council that might really help. It will give council, us, more information in making policy decisions, because a lot of times when we're voting on fees or taxes or things for policy regulations for small business, a lot of times we're going on anecdotal evidence or making kind of guesses on things. So I'm hoping that this advisory committee task force would give more data and more solid, accurate information with which we could make concrete decisions. I also think there might be places with the city, and not to blame the city for anything it's doing or not, but to work with the city. Maybe there are places where the processes aren't clear for business, where there's a breakdown in communication perhaps, or where some small fixes could be way more efficient for city staff. I think having a formal task force really increases the fairness and the transparency of the process. I want to focus on existing buildings and vacancies, because we look downtown, we have a lot, or really all over town, we have a lot of vacancies. And how do we fill those vacancies? So really, a group they're good problem solvers, coming up with ideas on how do we get businesses into buildings. A lot of our buildings are older, they need renovations. Does it require small code changes we can do to make it easier to make renovations at a lesser cost for businesses? Things like that. So filling vacant storefronts, reinvesting in older businesses, and tenant improvements. I would like at the end to have prioritized recommendations from the task force that the city could decide if we want to act on that. What else? I think obviously retaining more jobs. As our businesses grow, we will hire more people and retain more jobs, which increases property values. There's just a lot of pluses to it. Downtown vitality, long-term revenue for the city. It's not a lobbying arm. It's not a chamber of commerce duplicate. It's not a complaint forum, just a problem solving on ways we can help. Here are some specific fees, costs, financial barriers. How can we reduce or keep those down? Permitting timelines and predictability. A lot of times you can do nothing about the timeline, but if we can be predictable in letting business owners know what that timeline is. It helps them to plan ahead and not be caught by surprises. I talked about communication gaps, existing building parking access. Can we do better there? Infrastructure impacts for businesses. What are some things we might be doing that cause unintended consequences for businesses? We can look at that. Brad mentioned incentives, fairness, perception. We're very seasonal. So are there things we can do that don't have seasonal impacts when businesses are down in revenue? Can we do things differently there? So that's kind of the gist of my thought. It's not about studying everything, but it's about identifying specific barriers, recommending practical fixes, and giving council better information. I want it to be easier for businesses in Grants Pass to stay open and to expand when they're ready to do that. So that was my goal in recommending this task force, and I hope you all will agree, and any ideas you have are more than welcome.
Further discussion, Rob?
Thanks, Indra. Excellent presentation. I appreciate it. So from a government definition or a typical definition, 500 employees and below is considered a small business, or 7.5 million a year is considered a small business. So I'm just trying to get an idea, what did you have in mind, or did you have something in mind?
I think that would be fine. I think depending on who applies, and I'm hoping a lot of small business owners will look to apply, and then we can look and decide. I think a diversified group, so maybe we had one that had many more employees and some that had 20. So I wouldn't discourage them from applying, but just look at them and see who we would choose. Hopefully we have a good amount to choose from.
So along the same lines, thank you. It sounds really inclusive, and it sounds like to be a broad range of experiences, which would really help some of the younger or smaller, really small businesses. But what did you have in mind when we had the business owners representing a variety of sectors? So are we literally having a slot for each one of these, or are we trying to fill each one of these, manufacturing, healthcare, tourism, et cetera, or that's just the general idea?
I think, again, it would be up to the council to see who our applicants are and then to choose from that. I think different representations would be good if we have that available.
Any further discussion? Rick?
I guess when I look at our town and look at the potential of small businesses, my just initial reaction would be to focus on businesses with 50 employees or less for the focus of the task force. But the people on the task force could be people with varied backgrounds that know how to cultivate a small business and take it forward. So that would be a thing I think would be worth considering. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seth?
Yeah, I mean, I think on the 5 business owners, I'd like to diversify it to maybe 50 or less is fine, but I think that we should spread it out to, maybe there's an entrepreneur that's a startup, right, that has none. Maybe they have 1 to 10, maybe there's 10 to 20, I don't know, right? So just rather than just a blanket statement of 5 business owners, just so we can get a variety of opinions.
So my comment was the focus of the committee to be a business that is 50 or less, but the makeup of the actual task force can include anybody. It can be a large business because they may have started small, like Indra, and went big. And I think the experience they could bring to the table would be very beneficial.
Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, so I would just say that maybe we define those 5 a little bit more. Or at least say that you have to have a variety of choices, right? So it's not just, everyone that's, a startup but there's some that are large, small, medium, just so there's a variety.
Further discussion, I got Joel, and then Indra and Eric. Joel?
Well, I'd rather not screen out at this time, because we're going to get applicants, and we'll select the applicants. That small business of 500 or less by the Small Business Association, geez, if we had somebody come in with 500 employees and wanted to be on the committee, why not? You know, I certainly wouldn't object to that. And that doesn't mean that our medical clinic with 4 employees is not important and should be a part of it as well. So I would say keep the parameters as wide as possible at this point in time, and then that can be part of our decision criteria when we select who's on the committee.
All right, further discussion, I got Indra, and then Eric. Indra?
I think Councilor Riker was saying that we should diversify as far as who's on the task force, but that the task force itself should focus on smaller businesses with 50 or less. So not the larger ones that are, I guess, maybe more successful already, but maybe the smaller ones. And I would just suggest that we would want to determine what does 50, is 50 full-time employees, is 50 part-time, or a combination? That could be a big difference in numbers.
Further discussion, I've got Eric.
Just had a question in regards to what was brought up by the audience member, Mr. Patrick Rooney. As far as, I think it's a great idea. This whole thing is great. Anything pro-business is wonderful because we need it. We need it here in Grants Pass. But like he was saying, I just want to reiterate, maybe are they going to consider any outside issues where Grants Pass can't handle these things, and it's a state issue in terms of whatever the problems are usually that are stifling business. So my question, I guess, is that going to be visited? Is that going to be looked at in this whole thing? But definitely a great idea.
So the main premise of the city establishing a task force is to bridge the gap between the public sector and the private sector. The public sector being the city, and the private sector being, in this case, local businesses and how they operate and how they maintain and how they prosper within our system. So that's the main objective of a task force, is to actually bridge that gap between the public and private. So it has been discussed tonight that there wants to be some diversity in the business owners of the 5 slots on this task force, which is great. I would encourage council to keep it as diverse as possible and maybe tailor it down during the selection process, because what it's going to do is the announcement for the task force being a broader spectrum is going to give you a heavier pool of applicants wanting to join and be on that task force to bridge that gap between the public and private sector. Any further discussion or action? Indra and then Rob. Indra?
I agree, the state's crushing business, but I don't see that there's anything really we can do about state law and what they're doing. So I don't see that being a part of it. And with that, I would say the task force, I would kind of leave it up to them. Once they start talking and get into things, they might find a specific focus that is very beneficial for the city. So I would leave it to them to decide that.
Rob and then Joel. Rob?
Yeah, I would agree, Andrew. If let's say the task force would meet and it was unanimous that there were certain aspects of state regulation that were really stifling, that would be good for council to know, and then we could potentially suggest to our lobbyist. I'm not exactly sure how effective or how much, and I'm not disparaging them, I'm just saying I'm not sure how effective that is, but it would be great to let our lobbyists know that that is something that we'd like to see worked on. So if the task force came up with a bunch of, and was consistent as far as they agreed on different statewide aspects that were stifling their growth. It'd be great for the council to know, and then we can pass that on to our lobbyist. The other thing I was saying is, or thinking was that when Clint was saying it should be as broad as possible, I would totally agree, because when we interview people, we may find people that are great communicators, that are really positive, that seem like they have a lot to offer, a lot to teach, and I'd rather have people like that on the task force that are problem solvers, rather than people who may fit a particular category, but maybe they're just whining or they're just complaining. So I want people that have questions, but also are really excited about being successful in finding answers, and we're going to be able to hopefully weed that out in the application process. And as Clint was saying, the wider the application pool is, the better candidates we'll be able to choose that are really going to help move that task force forward.
Joel?
Well, just real quickly, if the task force identifies some things at the state level or even the federal level, we also have a local chamber of commerce that is part of the state chamber of commerce, and like just recently they went through feedback up to their lobbyist on what they thought was important at the state legislature, and a lot of those issues were some of the issues I just heard. So a letter from the mayor, if we all agree with it, that comes up from the committee to the state, to the Chamber of Commerce, plus to the governor, can't hurt.
All right, further discussion or action? Indra?
And just to remind that a chamber representative will be on the task force, as well as a Main Street representative, and so. Yeah, yes. Okay. Good. And I just want businesses to know that we value our small businesses in town, the council, the city does, and we want your success, excuse me, and we want to support you in any way we can. Thank you. So I would move that we appoint a small business task force.
All right, so there has been a motion floated to support the action to establish a small business task force. Would there be a second? A second from Rick. Any further discussion? All right, I'll start with a vote. Indra?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Seth?
Yes.
All right, motion passes, so we will be establishing a small business task force. Staff, do you have any questions?
No, we'll go
Do
ahead
you have
and...
full direction?
Yep, we'll go ahead and publish for that and ultimately bring the candidates back to you.
Thank you very much. All right, next on the agenda is appointments. We have a motion to, or we need a motion to appoint 2 members to the Tourism Advisory Committee. You have a pink sheet in front of you with some applicants. Please put your preference of 2 individuals and sign the document and send it down, please. All right, we'll tally up the preferences, and then we will, one more, and then we'll ask council for a nomination from the preferences, and we will go from there. All right. We have a strong preference for Dustin Abbott and Heather White. Looks like they got equal amount of preference. Well, Heather got 7 on preference, and Dustin got 6 on preference. So council has preferred applicants Dustin Abbott and Heather White, and I would be bringing back to council to look for nomination. Kathleen?
Yeah, I nominate Dustin Abbott and Heather White for nomination.
All right, there's a motion to nominate Dustin and Heather to the Tourism Advisory Committee with a second from Seth. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll go to a vote. Kathleen?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Seth?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
All right, Dustin and Heather have been nominated to join the Tourism Advisory Committee. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, we come to general public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the City Council on items not related to a public hearing or cancel item action for this jurisdiction. The speaker will be given 2 minutes to address the council as one body, not two individuals. At the conclusion of public comment, council will have the opportunity to respond. This meeting will proceed in an effective, courteous manner. Citizens and council members will be allowed to state their position in an atmosphere free of slander, threats, and other personal attacks. Signs or placards, outbursts of applause, campaigning for public office, or other disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. If you have a question regarding any government-provided service or a current city policy, please contact the city manager in an attempt to resolve the matter. So I have some cards here, and we have two frequent guests that want to speak. I'm going to put them to the back of the list because we do have children in the audience, and that will give the opportunity if somebody wants to leave, they can. But first up, we have Rika Brown.
Rika Brown, Grants Pass. In 1985, people grew food without thinking about the price of water. Paying the full water plant overhead monthly with base rates left only pennies on the dollar for unit rates. Utilities did not depend on use to pay the overhead. We thought of water as free from the tap. We grew so much food that it was hard to give it away, except to our food bank. Rationing of water by price in Grants Pass grew slowly from sometime in the 1990s to 2005, when a new city manager hired a rate consultant to set our rates, and my water bill doubled. Soon water was so costly that our food bank bought farmland outside our city to grow food, using volunteers to do the work. Such water rationing has cost us a generation of gardeners willing to garden other people's yards because they never learned how. It has made the poor and lower middle class poorer every year as unit rates increase 5.28% above inflation to pay the overhead. 40% of our overhead is paid from water use, which decreases as unit rates increase. Many people have lost their homes to high utility rates. Electricity and natural gas are also rationed by price, but water and sewer are local monopolies. Water is not precious. It is vital to health and wealth. Overpricing use of any utility is not good for utilities or people. It is theft based on fraud, the idea that these are scarce and precious resources. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have Andrea Reinhardt. And I do apologize if I butcher names. I try my darndest.
It's Adriana.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much for the correction.
You got the Reinhardt right. Good evening. I'm Adriana Reinhardt. I wanted to come tonight to talk to you on behalf of my husband. He couldn't be here tonight, but he wanted me to share his thoughts regarding Reinhardt Park and the fly fishing pond. I think you're going to hear from a couple of people in the audience today. You see these kids here regarding the fly fishing pond replacement. This park is personal to my family. My husband completed his Eagle Scout project there at that fly fishing pond, and he worked on this park alongside his late grandpa, who many of you know as the park's namesake. My husband didn't just put in volunteer hours, he helped build the park with his own hands, guided by his late grandpa, John Reinhardt, who deeply believed in investing in kids and community spaces. Because of that history, this is not an abstract discussion for my husband. My husband remembers riding his BMX bikes in the park area where the current dog park is now. He remembers kids showing up, being active, learning new skills, and having a place that was for them. That memory is a big reason why he feels strongly about supporting a pump track today. He also asked me to share that he would encourage the city to consider a pump track instead of a natural playground in this particular park. Not because natural playgrounds don't have value, but because we're surrounded by forest and trees and rivers and creeks and organic outdoor spaces. Kids here have no shortage of places to explore nature. He also notes kids here have many playgrounds to choose from. What we don't have enough of are designated athletic spaces for non-traditional sports, things like biking, scooters, skateboards, and adaptive riding. A pump track creates an athletic zone for kids and teens who may not play soccer or baseball, but who still need movement, challenge. Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
me, and a place to belong. Oh,
Thank you
man,
very
I ran
much.
out. Okay, thank you.
All right, next up we have Brendan Larson. Come on up, restate your name, and you got 2 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad to be here. I'm here tonight also to state my support for the pump track in replacement of the fly fishing pond. My name is Brendan, as you stated. I'm 31 years old and I've lived in Grants Pass my entire life. I graduated from Grants Pass High School just down the road. I'm now a husband, I'm a dad of 2 kids, and I own a local business here called Wheelhouse. It's a coffee business, if you haven't heard of it. I only say this as evidence that I'm invested in Grants Pass. I want to see Grants Pass thrive. I don't have any plans to leave anytime soon, but I do want really cool things for my kids to enjoy. So that's why I'm here to support. Not only do I think a pump track would be a fantastic option to replace the pond, but it is clear that the people who know about this issue, that is the majority of what they want. When you look on social platforms like Facebook, there was just a post the other day that had over 400 comments. The majority of them wanted a pump track. A lot of people probably don't know about this issue, and I would venture to say that that would probably be the case there as well. So as somebody with 2 young kids, I can tell you there isn't a whole lot to do here for them. There are a lot of parks, but they're all fairly the same. Not only do I think it would serve our community locally, but I think it could become a destination for surrounding areas to come and enjoy as well, which ultimately could bring dollars to small businesses. So as far as I'm aware, the closest one is Crescent City, so 2 hours away, and that one is very popular. I know people here locally that drive to Crescent City to use it for their kids, for all sorts of things. So I want to be clear, I don't think the issue here is just to do with the space, but that we want to be heard and that we want to start to build back some trust with the city. I don't think that public appeal of the city is probably at an all-time high right now, and I think this is a low-hanging fruit opportunity to build back some trust. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, next up we got Jared Rydell.
Hey guys, similar to my buddy Brendan, I was born and raised here in Grants Pass. I have 2 young boys and a local business here in Grants Pass, Tops and Tees. And I just, for those of you that don't know what a pump track is, it's a spot where kids and families and even us adults can ride bikes, scooters, skateboards, all sorts of stuff. It's not just bikes. I just want to make that clear to you guys. And it's a much more low pressure area than the skate park, or I know we have a BMX track, but that's only open certain times and hours. So this would be open, all the time. And yeah, it's just a super fun spot for families to spend their time and hang out. And the poll that was done by the Parks Department, this was the clear winner of it. And we're trying to make sure that our voices are heard. That's why a lot of people and families are here, is because we want to just show our support for the pump track. I know that there's a tentative plan to put it up at the Beacon Hill Park, But from what I've heard, that park is years out, and if it even does happen in the next few years. So, and even if they decide to put the pump track in the park when it is built. So we would just love to see this happen now, while our kids are all still young and while we have so much local engagement pushing for this. So I hope that you'll hear our voices and we'll make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Lance Jackson. Come on up, restate your name, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Lance Jackson. I am not prepared like they were. I'll just say that right now. Born and raised again, also 48 years. Raced BMX for 30 years now. So this track will help get our skills also. Various teams love to practice, you know, outside of the track and stuff like that. Yes, the track is not open all the time. It's just how it is right now. It's a sanctioned event, so they can't have it open to the public. But a lot of our teammates and stuff like that would be able to use it, to be able to practice on, help little kids and stuff like that, help out with their skills and stuff like that. So that's pretty much all I got, but I just want you guys, I know a lot of you guys have heard our voices on Facebook and met, you know, everything. So I have definitely seen that. So it's really appreciative that you guys are actually looking forward to moving ahead with hearing the voices of the city. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up we got Brendan Larson. Okay. Sorry. We got, no, it's okay, it's okay. I mean, if you want to repeat the whole thing, but you know, if we, Stefan Vernoy? Go ahead and restate your name because I know I probably butchered it.
Stephen Vernoy, Grants Pass, Oregon. I was born and raised here. I'm also the coach of Rebels Racing for BMX team that's local here. We wanted to come and show our support as well. And as we train some of these kids, they develop skills that they'd like to give back to the community and help other younger riders and be role models to them as well. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fitch, come on up, state your name, you have 2 minutes, and I want you to be very cognizant that you have families in the audience.
Leave. Mr. Fitch,
sir.
return resident. I could have Tourette's, and you would have to stifle your ego and sit there like my tax-paid elected employees and legally listen to every word. Your pattern of habits using a scripted dialogue by privacy.com to fabricate a false and fear of life, weaponizing a court system because you fear for your life and over your criminal behaviors being exposed. Your classic 3D of distractions, the courts are becoming well informed on your frauds. When any one of you retaliate against a constituent for redressing a tyrannical city employees, you violate a federal civil right protected by our Constitution. Retaliation against any American by harassment, menacing, and fraud can be classified as treason, punishable by death. An act of war attempting to coerce an ex-county commissioner to kidnap me by weaponizing a stalking order in order to attempt to ban me from a public meeting after serving a notice to you guys. You were warned. You can't say you weren't. For 5 months, Josephine County and Grants Pass City vigilantes have continued your vigilante assaults. Last one was last week. 114-226, you completed your Title 42, 1983, and Title 18, subsection 241, 242, federal crimes. Once you organized a second time, the retaliation of a county commissioner public meeting, your retaliation with intent to do me harm, who redressed your city vigilante hit list, comes with consequences. You sealed your fate by messing with the Constitution. Tick, tock, tick.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Mr. Pelfrey. Restate your name. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Mike Pelfrey, Grants Pass City resident. I want to say that I fully support this pump track thing too. I live near Reinhardt Park, but more importantly, I see it as an option for kids to actually do things that is good for themselves, and that ultimately, hopefully, will keep them out of the human cages that we have at the end of town, or in the middle of our town. So with that said, I'm going to segue over to the fact that President Trump just had his 1-year anniversary in his inauguration. And I can tell you that I'm absolutely proud of all of the accomplishments that he has made. So what I would like to ask the conservative slate of candidates that I worked my butt off to get elected to hold the positions that you sit in these chairs and hold, I'd like to know exactly what you have accomplished in the last year. Now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to actually answer that, meaning I want you to reflect back on this last year and please tell us exactly what you've done, because based on what I see, I don't see things that you can be very proud of. So I would ask that you check that. Matter of fact, I know for a fact that you guys have failed in some ways because the PCPs, which are the people that help elect you, we had a no confidence vote earlier in 2025, and we actually voted in favor of issuing a no confidence vote to the folks that we worked our butt off to elect. So that's something that you need to reflect on, because when you have your own PCPs thinking like that, you've got work to do. And then last but not least, we talked about that public sector thing with the small business. The public sector has failed the private sector.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our public comment for the night, general public comment. Thank you for your participation. We will move on to the consent agenda, and we have that up on the screen. I have no responses to star items, so consent agenda has been available for you to review, and I would be bringing it back to council for discussion or action. Indra.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed on the screen with a second from Seth. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll go into a vote. Indra?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Seth?
Yes.
All right, consent agenda passes. Thank you very much. Next on our tonight's agenda is matters for mayor, council, and staff. So I'll bring it back to council. Is there anything that you would like to add for tonight's session? Kathleen?
Yeah, I was wondering if we could do a workshop differentiating between the DDA and the charges in lieu of service. I don't really understand those
Fee in lieu of charges versus the DDA system that we have.
that'd be nice
Yeah, we
to
certainly could do a workshop or a memo on that, whichever you desire.
All right, does council have any input on that? I'd like to see favoritism and a show of thumbs up for a future workshop with that. Looks like we got majority.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further comments? Indra and then Rob. Indra?
I just want to we saw a lot of new faces today, and so thank you for coming and being engaged with your city council. And I just have to say, I was leaning towards the natural playground. It sounded fun, but really after hearing you all and particularly Mr. Reinhardt, who worked so hard on that part of the park, I think the pump track sounds really good, and you have convinced me to lean that way now. So thank you for coming. It's good to see new people, and your voices are heard. Thanks.
Rob?
Yeah, I mentioned this at strategic planning. I just want to make sure that we get it on the agenda. We talked about the possibility of using URA funds for one of the primary purposes of URA funds is to address blight and blighted conditions. And we talked about, and I'm proposing that we talk about a vandalized window fund. In other words, anyone who's kind of in the URA who's been a crime victim or victim of vandalization that's had their windows broken, that possibly we could find a fund to address the broken windows, because broken windows just basically attract more broken windows, and this is not routine maintenance items that we'd be paying for. We'd basically making people whole for damage that's been done, and in the way that's very depressing to our city. So I wanted to have a workshop on the possibility of a broken window fund coming out of URA for the URA area.
And the fund would be basically to kind of help keep our city upkeep and beautification.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I bring it back to council. Is we have interest in having a discussion on that in a future workshop? Thumbs up? All right, looks like we got some unanimous. We'll put that on the agenda schedule to put together for a future workshop. Thank you. Anybody else? I got Kathleen and Joel. Kathleen?
Sure. I think it's important to note, like Mike said tonight, that we reflect on what we've done this last year. Obviously, the biggest thing that we've dealt with is the unhoused situation. So I'd just like to summarize something really quick, just so that you can think about it. There's 4 facets to that. One is the housing facet, and then we've worked on a lot of low-income housing. We have several, well, even the subdivision that we're talking about tonight. There's been a lot of houses built. There's some low-income housing being built. Economic development. We've been a proposal now with our urban renewal dollars for economic development up here by where the old hospital or the hospital at the north end of town for housing and businesses. The small business task force. We've had several grants. Some have been successful and some have not been. But we've been trying that to improve the economic thing for jobs. The social welfare part, that's mainly been a state thing, which has been a safety net. But there's been, the food pantry is up and operating and doing very well. The Medicaid part of it with medical care in the medical offices in the area and the hospital have been doing very well in serving those that are caught up in that net. And then let me think here. So we had economic development, we have housing, accountability. And accountability is a lot of times if you run a city and for those that act irresponsibly towards others get rewarded, while those that act responsibly toward others get punished, that doesn't work very well. And so there needs to be some accountability. So what we've done is we have direction now to hire some additional staff for our very competent police chief and police department and also fire department. And we're looking at this next year, looking at a municipal court system for accountability. And it's not to pick on anybody, but it's to keep people that treat other people irresponsibly from benefiting and people that do treat other people responsibly from being hurt. So those 4 things, and I look at what we've done over the last year, I think we're moving in the right direction. It's been slow. And I wish it'd been a little faster, but it is what it is.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you, Joel. That's exactly where I was going to go. I just think it's really a sad day when a resident comes and says, who appears to be very aware of what's going on in our city, just has to read us the riot act and say hasn't seen anything that we've done and just focused on negativity. And that's just the furthest thing from the truth. And I could probably name 6 more things that we accomplished this year that I'm aware of. And I'm glad you highlighted that, Joel. Thank you.
Any other counselor? All right, I want to add a little bit of statement here. we've spent 12 months together, and we've had our ups and downs. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride. I believe that we are hitting our stride. We're figuring out how to actually work together as a professional team. The only advice I have going forward is that you need to be able to understand the position that you've taken on. You need to realize that you need to wear a flak jacket. You need to have a tough skin. And you need to figure out what to tune out and what to listen to. There are many constituents. You all represent 4 different wards. City is roughly under 40,000 people. So you guys have a handful of people that you're representative in each ward, but you also represent all those 40,000 people. Just to sit back and listen to 10 to 12 social justice warriors on social media is not your constituents. So you need to figure out what to weather off and what to listen to, and try to tune out the distractions so we can buckle down and get the work that we need to get done for this city and our constituents. I see a positive, bright light outlook on 2026, and I'm proud to sit here and serve with all of you, because I think you guys all have a heart and a soul built into this city, and you guys are doing work here that is not easy work. You're doing hard work for the betterment of your community and your city and your constituents. So I want to applaud you for your actions in the last 12 months and encourage you to have a stiff upper chin and keep going forward. With that, I'll bring it over to staff. Does the staff have any comments or praises or anything you want to talk about before we move on?
You're setting the bar pretty high, Mayor.
I'm trying to. We're not limbo in here. We're high jumping.
No, we are not. I just wanted to make council aware. I did put a sheet up. This is a draft public campaign that we're getting ready to go on as we continue to work on the water filtration plant, as we install the raw water line between the existing water treatment plant and the replacement water treatment plant. We're going to have to take out quite a few trees along the parkway. The last time some trees got removed, the public kind of came up in arms. So we're going to get out in front of that and start notifying people in the next couple of weeks, even though it's still probably a month or so out. But I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek. There will be quite a bit of trees that are left, but we're going to take out, I think it's 29 trees total along there. It's quite a few. So I just want to give you guys a sneak peek and a heads up, and if you start getting the calls. But it is necessary. We left as many trees as we can, as we were able to, and we are working cooperatively with ODOT on that removal.
And the premise of actually removing trees is the conflict with the actual utility line underground, which would
we
wreak havoc on the future.
physically can't dig the ditch with the trees where they are.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jason. Rick?
So Jason, I know they have equipment at commercial places where they can just take an existing tree and dig it out and relocate it. Is that possible here or not really?
Not really. Most of these trees, if you go and really drive the parkway, most of them aren't in the greatest shape. You know, they're not the healthiest trees, and a lot of them that we're removing, to be quite honest, some of them are half dead, some are just, they've been limbed up kind of funky. They're not great trees, so likely not. It's not cost effective also.
Indra?
Will the trees be replaced?
So probably a few, but for the most part, no. ODOT would prefer that there were less trees through there, but we're leaving, you can see on the graphic, the trees that are dark green are being left. The lighter ones are the ones that are being removed. So there are still quite a few trees that are going to be left. And then we'll supplement that with a few planting on the water plant property. But likely we won't be doing any planting because we'd have to put them back right on top of the water line that we just put in, which is not ideal.
All right, thank you. Any other staff? All right, thank you very much for your participation, and thanks for tolerating us for the last 12 months, and hopefully we will have, you guys will work with us in the next 12 months to make this a better place. All right, we have no executive session planned or noticed, so I would be looking for council to a motion to adjourn the regular city council meeting and convene an urban renewal agency meeting. I would look for a motion.
So
Joel.
moved.
So I move to adjourn our regular meeting and start our urban renewal meeting.
Excellent. Do I have a second? Indra, a second. Thank you. We'll go for a vote. Joel?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Seth?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
All right, our regular city council meeting has now adjourned, and we have convened Urban Renewal Agency meeting. First on the consent agenda for that, or first on the meeting agenda for Urban Renewal Agency is consent agenda. We have a motion acknowledging the receipt of the Grants Pass Urban Renewal Agency Annual Report for fiscal year 2025. So we just need a motion. So we just need a motion from council to adopt the consent agenda for urban renewal. Rick?
I'd like to make a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the Grants Pass Urban Renewal Agency Annual Report for fiscal year 2025.
And a second from Seth. Any further discussion? All right, we'll go into a vote. Rick?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Seth?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
All right, so that concludes our business for the Urban Renewal Agency. So I'm looking for council for a motion to adjourn and adjourn fully for the evening. Hurry, hurry, hurry. We got to get before 7:15.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Rob. Second from Seth. Everybody in favor, say yay.
Yay.
All right, thank you for participation. Everybody go home.